The communication array crackled to life in the dead of night. Specialist Park Minji rubbed her tired eyes as the emergency beacon pierced through the usual background static of deep space. At first she thought it was another merchant vessel, requesting docking permissions, but the frequency signature made her blood run cold. This was a Galactic Council priority transmission. "Control, this is Monitor Station 7. She spoke into her headset, fingers dancing across holographic displays. "I'm receiving a Class 1 distress signal from the Outer Rim." The reply came immediately. "Patch it through to Central Command. Full recording protocols active." As the signal cleared, the face that appeared on her screen was unlike anything she'd seen before. Tall, crystalline features that shifted between blue and violet hues, with eyes that seemed to hold the weight of dying stars. Ambassador Veltar of the Altarian Federation had contacted Earth before, but never like this. Terran Defense Force. His voice carried through the quantum translators, each word heavy with desperation. "I am transmitting from the last free station in the Kepler 442 system. The Vorthak Empire has broken through our final defensive line." Park's hands trembled as she adjusted the signal strength. Behind Veltar, she could see others moving frantically, some carrying children, others hauling data cores and supply packs. The evacuation was real. "Our military forces are exhausted," Veltar continued, his form flickering as explosions somewhere nearby shook the transmission equipment. 4 billion civilians remain on 3 worlds. The Vorthak have given us 72 hours to surrender before they begin harvesting operations. Park felt sick. Everyone knew what Vorthak harvesting meant. The insectoid race didn't just conquer worlds, they consumed them, extracting every useful resource, including the people themselves. The Galactic Council has met in emergency session. They cannot intervene directly. A full-scale war with the Vorthak Empire would devastate half the galaxy. Another explosion rocked the station. This time, the crystal humanoid stumbled, his form briefly turning a deep red before settling back to desperate blue. "But they have authorized us to make this request to any member species willing to provide assistance. Earth, you joined our Federation only 50 years ago. We do not ask this lightly, but we are asking, will you help us?" The transmission ended abruptly, replaced by static. Park sat in stunned silence for a moment before hitting the priority alert button. Within minutes, her quiet monitoring station became the center of a storm of activity. Technicians arrived to verify the signal's authenticity, while communication specialists worked to establish a return channel. Admiral Kang arrived 20 minutes later, still in civilian clothes but with the bearing of someone who'd been pulled from sleep by something important. He studied the recorded message twice, his weathered face showing no emotion. "Have we confirmed this with Galactic Command?" he asked. Lieutenant Commander Choi stepped forward with a tablet full of data. "Yes, sir. Multiple systems report Vorthak fleet movements. Intelligence estimates put their force at over 800 vessels, all heading toward Altarian space." "And the Council?" "They've declared a state of non-intervention. Too many member species fear the Vorthak will target them if they get involved." Admiral Kang was quiet for a long moment, staring at the frozen image of Ambassador Veltar's desperate face. Behind him, officers waited for orders, unsure of what humanity's response would be. "Sir?" A young ensign spoke hesitantly. "What are your orders?" Kang turned to face his staff, and for the first time since arriving, he smiled. But it wasn't a happy expression. It was the smile of someone who'd been waiting for this moment. "Contact Defense Minister Park. Wake her if necessary. Then get me the President." "Sir?" "Tell them both the same thing. The galaxy just found out what happens when you threaten innocent people in front of humans." As his staff rushed to carry out orders, Admiral Kang turned back to the communications array. He began dictating a response to be transmitted immediately. "Ambassador Veltar, this is Admiral Kang of the Terran Defense Force. Earth has received your message and your request for assistance. Our official response is as follows. Help is on the way. Hold your positions." He paused, then added, "And tell your people that humanity always honors its promises." The message fired toward Kepler 442 at faster-than-light speeds, carrying with it something the galaxy hadn't seen in decades: hope. What it didn't carry was any indication of what was about to unfold, or how humanity's idea of assistance would forever change the balance of power in the galaxy. The Pentagon War Room hadn't seen this much activity since the Unity Wars 40 years ago. General Han Buell stood before a massive holographic display showing the Kepler system, red markers indicating Vorthak positions growing like a disease across peaceful blue worlds. "How long until total control?" asked Defense Minister Park Soo-yeon, her voice steady despite the early morning hour. Major Kim Tae-hoon consulted his datapad. "At current rate, sir? 4 days. The Altarians are fighting well, but they're a peaceful people. They weren't built for war like this." Admiral Kang entered the room, followed by a small group of officers carrying sealed containers. The room fell silent. Everyone knew the Admiral's reputation. He'd never lost a battle, never left an ally behind, and never backed down from a fight. "Status report," Kang said simply. Colonel Lee Min-soo stepped forward. 800 Vorthak ships, sir. Standard. Configuration: plasma cannons, ion torpedoes, energy shields. They're using classic hive mind tactics. Our capabilities? Task Force Prometheus is ready, sir. All ships report green across the board. The Defense Minister cleared her throat. "Admiral, the Galactic Council expects a small force. Maybe 50 ships? A token gesture to show humanity cares." Kang's eyes narrowed slightly. "Minister, with respect, when has humanity ever done anything small?" He activated a different display, one that showed not dozens, but thousands of ships positioned throughout the solar system. Officers around the room shifted uncomfortably. Some had clearance to know about Task Force Prometheus, but few had seen its true size. "Ladies and gentlemen," Kang began, his voice carrying the weight of decades of command. 50 years ago, Earth joined the Galactic Federation. We signed treaties promising to defend peaceful species against aggression. He gestured to the display. "The galaxy sees us as children, young, violent, barely capable of interstellar travel. They've forgotten that we survived 3 world wars, nuclear weapons, climate change, and a dozen other disasters that should have killed us." Captain Yoon Era, commander of the dreadnought Sejong, spoke up. "Sir, what do we show them? We show them what happens when you threaten innocent people in front of someone from a death world." The room buzzed with nervous energy. Everyone understood the implications. Death world, that's what the galaxy called Earth. A planet so dangerous that its inhabitants had to become the deadliest species in known space just to survive. "Begin deployment sequence," Kang ordered. "All vessels to battle stations. We launch in 6 hours." As officers hurried to their duties, Major General Yoon Era remained behind. "Admiral, the other species, they don't understand what they're about to see, do they?" Kang smiled that cold smile again. "No, General, they don't. They've seen our exploration ships, our merchant vessels, our diplomatic cruisers, but they've never seen our warships. And the Vorthak? The Vorthak are about to learn why predators usually avoid each other. Across the solar system, hidden bases that the galaxy didn't know existed came alive. Near Jupiter, massive shipyards released vessels that dwarfed anything humanity had publicly displayed. At Mars Station, entire battalions of power-armored Marines boarded dropships designed for planetary assault. On Earth's moon, weapons that the galaxy believed were communication arrays powered up for the first time in decades. These weren't energy weapons or plasma cannons. They were kinetic accelerators capable of launching projectiles at incredible speeds. Dr. Ryu Min-sung, head of Earth's Xenobiology Department, met with Admiral Kang privately before the launch. "Sir, our studies show that Vorthak warfare relies entirely on energy-based combat. They've never faced kinetic weapons." "I know, Doctor. Their entire military doctrine, their armor, their tactics, everything is designed to deflect or absorb energy. Attacks." Kang nodded slowly. "And how do you deflect a tungsten rod moving at significant light speed?" "You don't, sir. You can't." "Exactly." As Earth's fleets prepared to launch, humanity began implementing Operation Deliverance, a plan decades in the making. Ships moved with precision that spoke of endless drills and preparation. Each vessel carried weapons the galaxy had never seen, operated by crews trained for scenarios the peaceful species couldn't imagine. The loading ramps of transport, ships filled with soldiers whose armor looked more like mechanical suits than traditional military gear. Each Marine carried weapons designed not just to wound, but to survive on worlds where everything wanted to kill them. Admiral Kang stood in the command center of the Incheon, Earth's newest and most advanced warship. Through the viewports, he could see hundreds of other vessels preparing for jump. "Sir," Commander Choi reported, "all fleets report ready. Shall we begin?" "Yes," Kang said simply. "And, Commander, send this message to the Galactic Council. Humanity honors its promise. We're coming." As Earth's largest military force ever assembled prepared to jump to hyperspace, none of the peaceful species understood what was about to unfold. They expected a gesture, a small show of support. Instead, they were about to witness what happened when you woke up humanity's sleeping giant. The quantum fold space above Kepler 442 began to ripple like water. On the Vorthak command ship, Hive Mother, sensors detected the first signs of incoming vessels. "War Master," drone pilot Vectal called out. "Hyperspace distortions detected. The humans come as expected." War Master Clickthak's mandibles clicked with satisfaction. "How many ships?" "Scanning. 50. 100. Still counting." Clickthak's smile faded. "What?" "War Master. The count exceeds 500. 800. Still climbing." The first human vessel emerged from folded space, a massive ship, unlike anything in galactic records. Its hull gleamed with strange angles and weapons that defied classification. Then another appeared, and another. Lieutenant Commander Choi Minho stood on the bridge of the TDF Incheon as his crew watched. 3,000 human vessels materialize in perfect formation. Behind them, more ships continued to arrive. Carriers, destroyers, vessels whose purpose the galaxy could only guess. "Communications. Patch me through to Admiral Kang," Choi ordered. "Sir," Officer Park reported moments later, "we're receiving priority signals from both Vorthak and Galactic Council observers." The Council first. The hologram of Council observer Thandor appeared, his usually calm features twisted with shock. "Admiral Kang, we requested a modest force to assist the Altarians. This appears to be an invasion fleet." "Admiral," Kang's voice was steady through the communicator. "Observer Thandor, you asked for help. This is what help looks like." On the Vorthak flagship, alarms wailed as the enemy count climbed past 3,000. War Master Clickthak had conquered 47 worlds. Never had he faced such numbers. "Alert the swarm," he shrieked. "All ships to combat formation." The Vorthak fleet moved like angry insects, their energy weapons charging with deadly purple light. 800 vessels against 3,000 should have been hopeless, but Vorthak warriors knew no fear. Captain Lee Ji-won watched the enemy formation from her command seat. "Target the lead ships, prepare kinetic barrage." "Ma'am," Weapons Officer Kim called out nervously. "Shouldn't we try speaking with them first?" "They had their chance when they started killing civilians," Lee said coldly. "Fire." The human fleet's first salvo changed everything. Instead of bright energy beams, dark objects launched from strange weapon ports. These weren't lasers or plasma. They were solid tungsten rods accelerated to incredible speeds. The first projectiles struck Vorthak vessels with devastating force. Energy shields, designed to deflect plasma and particle beams, offered no protection against solid matter traveling. At 5% light speed, ships simply vanished, converted to plasma by the kinetic impact. "By the void." Clickthak gasped as 3 of his dreadnoughts disappeared in brilliant explosions. "What sorcery is this?" "Not sorcery, War Master," his science officer stammered. "Kinetic impact, solid projectiles, our shields are useless." On the Galactic Council observation ship, delegates watched in stunned silence as the humans demonstrated weapons the galaxy had never seen. Dr. Mirkin activated her recording devices with trembling appendages. "They're using throwing weapons," she whispered. "Advanced throwing weapons that move nearly as fast as light." The Vorthak fleet attempted to adapt, but their entire military doctrine was wrong. Thousands of years of energy-based warfare had prepared them for beam duels, not solid projectiles that could punch through their heaviest armor like paper. Admiral Kang's voice echoed across the human fleet. All ships, commence orbital bombardment of military targets. Marines, prepare for deployment. What happened next horrified the galaxy's observers. Objects launched from human ships, not more tungsten rods but metal capsules that streaked toward the surface like meteors. These weren't bombs. They were soldiers. The first human Marine to reach surface was Sergeant Bai Seung-wan. His powered armor absorbed impacts that would have killed any other galactic species. As his boots touched Altarian soil, sensors showed thousands more warriors descending like an iron rain. Control, this is Alpha Lead, Bai reported. Landing, zone secured. Beginning search and rescue operations. The Vorthak forces on the planet had never faced anything like these humans. Each Marine seemed to be a walking tank, moving too fast for Vorthak weapons to track, hitting too hard for their defenses to stop. Above, the space battle continued its one-sided slaughter. Human ships moved in perfect coordination, their communications somehow faster than anything the galaxy knew. Each salvo eliminated entire Vorthak squadrons. War Master Clickthak watched his fleet die around him. In desperate fury, he opened a channel to the human admiral. Humans, face us in honorable combat, ship to ship, warrior to warrior. Admiral Kang's response was broadcast across the system. Honor? You were slaughtering civilians. There is no honor in this fight, only justice. As more Vorthak ships disappeared under kinetic bombardment, observers throughout the galaxy began to understand a terrifying truth. Humanity hadn't just hidden their military power. They had been preparing for total war since the day they joined the Federation. The peaceful species of the galaxy finally understood why Earth was classified as a death world, and why its people had survived everything their harsh planet threw at them. They had become the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. Dr. Ryu Minsung watched the battlefield data from his research vessel, Soul's Pride. 3 days into the conflict, the Vorthak fleet had been reduced by half. What amazed him wasn't just the destruction, it was how efficiently the humans fought. The Vorthak still don't understand, he told his assistant, Lieutenant Bai Seung-wan. They keep trying the same energy-based attacks. Doctor, look at this. Bai pointed to her screen showing Marines in action. Those power suits, they're not just armor, are they? No. They're complete environmental systems. Life support, weapons, communications, even medical systems. Each soldier is basically a small starship. On the planet's surface, Marine Corporal Park Jin-woo crouched behind cover as Vorthak plasma bolts sizzled overhead. His armor's computer highlighted enemy positions through the smoke. Team 2, advance on the left flank, he commanded through his suit's radio. I'll provide suppressing. Fire! The Vorthak warriors charged, their insect-like forms moving fast across the broken ground. But human response time was faster. Park's weapon, something the galaxy had never seen, fired solid projectiles at supersonic speeds. The first Vorthak to appear simply fell apart. Target down. Advancing. Across the system, Admiral Kang received reports from his fleet commanders. The space battle was nearly won, but something bothered him. The Vorthak were fighting too easily, too simply. Sir? Commander Choi interrupted his thoughts. We've identified the Vorthak homeworld. Long-range scanners show massive fleet concentrations there. How many ships? Approximately 5,000. Sir, they outnumber us significantly. Admiral Kang was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled, that cold smile his officers had learned to fear. Signal all ships. Prepare for Warden Protocol activation. The room fell silent. Every officer knew about Warden Protocol, but most hoped they'd never see it used. Sir? Commander Choi asked carefully. Full activation? Partial. Just enough to make our point. Meanwhile, at the Galactic Council chambers, emergency sessions ran around the clock. The delegates watched live feeds from Kepler 442 with growing alarm. They're not just winning, Speaker Thaindor said slowly. They're demonstrating. Councillor Mirkin nodded. Every weapon they use is different. It's like they're showing us their entire arsenal piece by piece. But why? Asked another delegate. Because they want the galaxy to understand something, replied General Yextar, the Council's military advisor. Humans didn't just hide their power. They've been preparing for this exact scenario. On the Vorthak homeworld, billions of insect warriors waited. Their leaders had called every ship from conquered worlds. This would be the final battle. War Master Clickthak, now commanding from his homeworld, received a transmission from the advancing human fleet. The image showed Admiral Kang, his uniform crisp, his expression unreadable. War Master, Kang began formally, I offer you terms of surrender. Withdraw all forces from occupied territories. Submit to war crimes tribunals. Accept human oversight of your military. Clickthak's mandibles clicked with rage. Never! The Vorthak bow to no one. I see. Kang's expression didn't change. In that case, you should look at your moon. Clickthak turned to the nearest window. The moon hung in the sky as always, but something was wrong. Stars were moving around it in impossible patterns. That's not possible, Clickthak whispered. Admiral Kang's voice continued. We've moved your moon 300 kilometers closer to your world. The tidal effects will be noticeable. This is a demonstration. You can't move celestial bodies. We just did. This is what humans call a warning shot. You now have 6 hours to reconsider our terms. The transmission ended. Across the Vorthak homeworld, panic spread as tides rose beyond anything in recorded history. The humans had just demonstrated technology that made them seem like gods. How? War Master Clickthak demanded of his scientists. Gravitational manipulation, his lead researcher stammered. Theoretical only. No one has successfully. The power requirements alone would need a star's energy output. Then how? I don't know, War Master. In the human fleet, engineers monitored the gravitational generators built into their largest ships. This technology had taken decades to develop, using principles discovered from studying Earth's own moon. Sir, reported Chief Engineer Captain Yoon, operation complete. The moon has been relocated successfully. Admiral Kang nodded. And power consumption? 40% of our total reserves. We can do this maybe 3 more times. The Vorthak. Don't need to know that. On the research ship, Dr. Ryu stared at the readings in disbelief. They're using multiple quantum field generators to create artificial gravity wells, he explained to his staff. The engineering required, this is centuries beyond what we thought possible. Doctor, asked Lieutenant Bay, how long have humans been preparing for war? Ryu thought carefully. I think they've been preparing since the day they learned there were other species in the galaxy. Every exploration ship, every trade, mission, every diplomatic contact, they were gathering intelligence. As the hours passed, the Vorthak homeworld shook with unnatural tremors. The moved moon created chaos in weather patterns, ocean currents, and gravity fields. War Master Clickthak faced a choice that no Vorthak leader had ever confronted: surrender to aliens, or watch his homeworld slowly tear itself apart under gravitational stress. The humans waited patiently, their massive fleet maintaining perfect formation. They had made their point without firing a single shot at the homeworld. The galaxy's most feared predators had met creatures from a world so dangerous that moving moons was just another weapon in their arsenal. The surrender came at hour 5. War Master. Clickthak's transmission was barely a whisper. We yield. The Vorthak Empire accepts your terms. Admiral Kang received the message aboard the TDF Incheon, surrounded by officers who had spent decades preparing for this moment. The war that everyone expected to last months had ended in 17 days. Order all vessels to maintain position, Kang commanded. Deploy humanitarian aid to all affected worlds. Begin prisoner processing. Lieutenant Commander Choi looked at the tactical display. Sir, their entire military hierarchy is requesting surrender meetings. Should we bring them aboard? No, they come to us on neutral ground. The liberated Altarian capital will do nicely. 3 days later, Ambassador Veltar stood in his rebuilt government center, watching human soldiers distribute food and medical supplies. These weren't the same humans who had arrived with devastating weapons. These were aid workers, engineers, doctors. Dr. Kim Soyan, head of the Human Relief Corps, checked her tablet as she spoke with Veltar. "We've restored power to 60% of your damaged cities. The water purification systems should be fully operational by tomorrow." "How do you have so many different specialists?" Veltar asked. Kim smiled. "On Earth, we learned early that those who fight wars must also win the peace. Every Marine knows first aid. Every pilot knows emergency engineering." Meanwhile, the Galactic Council scrambled to understand what had just happened. Emergency sessions ran continuously as delegates tried to grasp the scale of humanity's hidden capabilities. They relocated a moon. Council Speaker Thaindor repeated for the dozenth time. An entire celestial body. Moved it like a chess piece. Counselor Mirkin had spent days reviewing battle recordings. It's not just the weapons. Look at their formations, their communications, their logistics. This isn't a military that learned to fight. This is a military that was born to fight. "But why?" asked General Yextar. "Why hide such power?" The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Ryu Minsung, now serving as liaison between human forces and the Council, addressed the assembly. "Honored delegates," he began, "you've seen what humans can do in war. But has anyone asked why we joined the Federation in the first place?" Silence filled the chamber. "We didn't come seeking conquest. We came seeking peace. But Earth taught us that peace only exists when others respect the cost of war." On New Altair, the main refugee world, Admiral Kang walked among the temporary shelters. Children played between the buildings, some Altarian, some from other liberated worlds. They seemed unafraid of the armed humans patrolling nearby. Captain Yoon Era joined him. "Sir, the Vorthak delegation has arrived for the surrender ceremony. And their conditions? They're asking to retain a small defense force. They claim other species might seek revenge." Kang considered this. "Reduce their fleet to patrol vessels only. No heavy weapons, no military orbital stations. But they get to defend themselves." "Sir, the Council expects total disarmament." "The Council doesn't understand yet," Kang replied. "We're not here to rule. We're here to ensure peace." The formal surrender took place in a simple ceremony. War Master Clickthak, his warrior's pride broken but his dignity intact, signed documents that transformed his empire into a protectorate. "Your people will be fed, housed, and given work," Admiral Kang told him. "But you will learn new ways, peaceful ways." Clickthak looked up. "Why spare us? Your power could easily exterminate the Vorthak entirely." "Because," Kang said simply, "strong species don't survive by destroying others. They survive by teaching others to be strong." Months passed. The Galactic Council, faced with undeniable evidence of human technological superiority, voted to establish permanent human patrol routes throughout Federation space. Opposition was minimal. The Vorthak Empire was divided into smaller states, each learning new ways of existing. Human advisors worked alongside Vorthak leaders, teaching everything from agriculture to art. On Earth, Defense Minister Park read reports of the successful integration. "Admiral, the other species are adaptating to our increased presence, though some still seem nervous." Admiral Kang looked out at the stars from his office window. "Good. Peaceful intent is best when backed by obvious strength." In the Council chambers, Speaker Thaindor addressed the Assembly one final time on the Kepler incident. "The humans have shown us something we forgot. True strength isn't the ability to destroy. It's the wisdom to preserve. They could rule us all by force, but instead they've chosen to simply stand guard." The galaxy had learned a new truth. Humanity didn't want to be its masters. They wanted to be its guardians. And everyone understood that this was infinitely more terrifying than any conqueror could ever be. In the end, the Soul Doctrine became galactic law. Humanity stands ready to defend those who cannot defend themselves. We hope never to remind you again why this benefits everyone. The galaxy slept more peacefully knowing that somewhere, humans watched over them, patient, prepared, and absolutely committed to preserving the peace they had fought so hard to achieve.